Okay. So I don't think a lot of you realize how rich a lot of people in LA are compared to me. Yes, that is 100% true. I'm fucking baby rich out here, straight up. But it doesn't matter. I am still infinitely more wealthy than a person who is subjected to so much horrifying structural poverty that they literally go out and do shit like this. Okay. I mean, it's just the unfortunate reality here.
Downtown, where robbers deliberately hit a woman with their car just so they could steal her watch, we're told. Uptick in these follow home crimes are so alarming now, LAPD has formed a task force to stop those thieves. CBS 2's Jasmine Veal has the latest on the crime trend from the LAPD chief tonight.
Security cam video in downtown LA catches another violent robbery Monday. Robbers smashed the car window of a woman who had just left a watch repair shop and was stopped at a light near 8th Street. As she tries to run, the suspects chase her down.
I'm saying they're not going to leave until they get what they came for, expensive shit. Like, they're going to believe you own nothing high value when you live in a $3 million house. I mean, it's true. What do you want me to do? I hope someone you know breaks into your house and throws you a surprise party.
Down in their car, hitting her seconds later. She throws her expensive watch in a last-ditch effort to give them what they want.
In my 34 years in the LAPD, I had never seen this type of criminal behavior in such large groups, coordinating to conduct attacks on unsuspecting citizens to take their property and or vehicles.
LAPD Captain Jonathan Tippett, who spearheads a newly formed task force to target these follow-home robberies, talked to the Police Commission Tuesday about the alarming trend that peaked last November. The task force was formed the same month following the murder of a man in front of the Bossa Nova restaurant on Sunset Boulevard during an attempted robbery.
This is a phenomenon that prior to last year was almost unheard of, and to the best of my knowledge, specific to Los Angeles.
Tippett says there were 165 of these follow-home robberies last year. This year, there are already 56.
If you were to believe the news, you would think Los Angeles is a Mad Max hellscape. Yeah, I know. It's really funny when, like, the coordinated robbery attempts were happening at, like, during holiday season, as it literally always does. Okay? While the coordinated robberies that were occurring at, like, you know, fucking Melrose, Fairfax, like all those fucking storefronts out there, people were like losing their shit, right? And it was like they made it seem like it was a gigantic deal, like it was fucking crazy. Like, look at all these storefronts that are destroyed. It's like, bro, look at all the fucking homeless people that are dying outside of your house, okay? Like, both of those things are a product of the same exact system that we fucking live under, okay? And you only give a shit when, like, the Louis Vuitton storefront is broken down and you fucking freak out. It's crazy. Holiday season is where robberies go up. Robberies are fucking awful, okay? It's traumatizing. I get it. I understand. It destroys it destroys the reason why we live in societies, okay? Like, we create societal formations. Why do we do that? Because we want to avoid danger. We want to avoid violence. We want to avoid the dangerous way that nature is, for example. So that's like the whole reason why we live in cities. The whole reason why we live with other human beings, okay? And when something like this happens, it breaks that facade. You're like, what the fuck? And it's wild when the cops that are so bad at preventing this sort of stuff from happening, because they're not created to prevent this sort of stuff from happening. They're just simply defending the actual fucking system where this sort of stuff is slated to happen. Okay? That's their job. That's their purpose. They're a fucking hammer and everything looks like a nail. But right now we need some fucking screwdrivers, okay? And it's like, no. The only way that cops can supposedly, quote unquote, defend this or stop this from happening is by advocating to get more money. I think people probably hate on you more because you don't show sympathy towards unfortunate people victims. I do, though. I do. Like, I've been fucking robbed before. It's a traumatizing experience. What more can I say? Like, what do you mean? I'm not like, if you're talking about CVS, I don't give a shit. Okay, yeah, I don't care about CVS. I don't care about Louis Vuitton. And I do get mad at people being like, oh my God, Louis Vuitton storefronts are broken down. But when you're talking about like individual acts of violence towards people, yeah, of course, that's completely unacceptable. Who's going to rob your big ass? Stop BSing. My friend, I was not always this big. I don't know if you know this, but, you know, I was a teenager once, living in Turkey, growing up in Turkey. Also, people have still guns, you know? Yeah, I've been 6'4" and 30 years old my entire life.
And in the last 48 hours, 5 new cases where criminals are targeting people in nice cars.
Like, the worst part about a robbery, for the record, the worst part about a robbery isn't like a super rich person, you know, having their watch stolen. Because no one who has a $150,000 watch that gets stolen is like, oh man, I was going to pay my rent with this watch. Okay. No, the worst part is the trauma. The worst part about this kind of experience that you're subjected to is how paranoid you become, how traumatic of an experience this is. You literally face death in that circumstance. Everything you know about growing up in a civilized society falls apart in that 1 second. Okay, where someone comes in and does some shit that you would not have ever expected, and you're like, holy fuck. And the only reason why I know this is because I've experienced it a lot, okay? I experienced it in Turkey. Like, I know what this is like, okay? People act like another big motherfucker will hold a 45 or a knife to a big guy like you, and they will just ninja guy, and you will just ninja guide in their ass. I'm a big dude like you, I've been held up for a wallet too. That's the real issue with things like this. It's a super traumatic experience.
Or wearing expensive jewelry.
Outrageous display of arrogance on the part of these criminals that think that they can just run amok in our city and terrorize our citizens.
Most of the follow home robberies have been in the Hollywood division with 50, followed by the Wilshire division at 46, and in the Central division 40. But progress is being made by the task force of 18 detectives going after what they say are more than a dozen different gangs, decreasing the robberies by 78% in March compared to that peak in November. Just this past week, the task force made an arrest in this violent follow-home robbery that occurred in Los Angeles in October, where the robbers stole more than $600,000 worth of property.
This has been a major undertaking. However, I am confident that we are slowing this trend down.
The victim, the woman, suffered only minor injuries. The captain also says most of the suspects in these cases are not first-timers in the system, that they have extensive arrest records, that they have been released on bond under new policies.
Wow, robberies went down after holiday season, they say. Of course. It's just like, it's robbing season during holiday season. It's just how it is. Am I wrong for thinking that detectives are slightly less evil than beat patrol cops? I mean, they are supposed to... The requirements to become a detective is, you know, a little bit higher than just like being a regular cop. But it's the same people that become detectives inevitably. Not like they're plucking detectives out of a separate lineup. They're still fucking beat cops that turn into detectives. They are a little bit better, though. In my personal experience, they are a little bit. I mean, they're smarter. They are a little bit better. It depends. You know, because For the record, like, they have to be, okay? The detectives are arguably doing the one fucking job of the police force that, like, has to be done, no matter what you think about policing, no matter how deep of an anarchist you are, no matter how much of an anarchitty you are. Like, what detectives do is literally one function of the police force that is definitely, no matter what, 1,000,000% a necessity in any kind of fucking society, okay? They have to. There has to be. Doesn't matter if you're democratically organizing the police force from, like, you know, workers' councils or whatever the fuck, but you still have to have someone solve crimes that inevitably occur, no matter what happens. So you still got to have someone who's like, hey, a murder happened. We got to figure it out. Now, they might not be great at what they do, but, you know, we're not abolishing the concept of investigations, I think. Okay? I don't know if that's how it's going to happen. Let me highlight it. Fuck that and fuck you. Okay? Based anti-detective take here. No. Crimes will be solved by, you know, getting together and doing a kumbaya circle. Oh, this is a great example, actually. Detectives are smarter, and that can mean that them being better or worse in an incredibly more damaging way, like the LA crash unit. Exactly. That is actually a profound point. Training Day was directly built and designed off of a true story of the Los Angeles detective unit that straight up was just doing the shit that you saw in Training Day. That's real. That's a real story of the crash unit that this person is talking about in the chat. Straight up. Neighborhood watches do more? Yeah, like George Zimmerman. Come on, dude. Yeah, neighborhood watch is definitely better. Yeah. We should just have, like, completely untrained motherfuckers with guns running around and solving said crimes, potentially. Anyway, we talked about this a bunch. Moore says Adams' earlier and repeated releases from custody endangered public safety, and that people who were repeatedly arrested for gun crimes should not be let out before trial. He also suggested that prosecutors played a part by not seeking certain charging enhancements to those brought against Adams that might have kept him in jail. Moore said he was a bit disappointed that the full weight of our existing laws was not brought down on Adams, not only to hold him accountable, but to provide a disincentive for other would-be robbers who might think such crimes are going unpunished in Los Angeles. The idea that, like, we're not punishing crimes is a silly one, especially considering that California still houses more incarcerated people than, like, entire countries, okay? That's why I always say this argument that, like, you know, we're fucking releasing criminals and allowing them to do crimes is silly as fuck. You know what I mean? Because it's like, who's going to jail then? What do you think? Is the financial criminals that are still in jail? California prison system has been releasing people who shouldn't be. I think it's on purpose to gain political clout. I don't think so. I think that is a right-wing slant towards, like, towards a decent approach to try to let people out on early release. And I don't think you understand what early release looks like. And I think that is the reason why you're saying that. Now, the reason why I say this is because the early release system is simply just for people who are on the tail end of their already incredibly long and horrifying prison sentence. It's not like, and they also have to straight up show that they are eligible for release. You're regurgitating propaganda in the chat, straight up. Like, if you think that people are just like, oh, you're a criminal and you've murdered 1 million people, like, okay, well, time to let you go, I guess. Oh, duh. And then they just, like, release you. Like, that's not how that works. You know what I mean? You have to have shown good behavior. You have to have demonstrated good behavior under, like, these horrifying conditions where the entire criminal justice system is like created to make you engage in bad behavior over and over again as a matter of survival. Okay? They should be more lenient on existing non-violent prisoners, but they should still have the standards for locking up new violent offenders. Yeah, of course. Like, if you do a crime, I'm not an advocate to like release you. That's fucking psychotic. Like, I'm not like, let's not have any crimes. Like, let's just let people go. Like, no, I think that's wrong. I don't think that's a weird take from me. Okay. I don't think you'll find a person that isn't like 14 that will have that take either, by the way. Anyway. The California prison system should be releasing way more people. They're excluding violent offenders, but no one in the U.S. actually gets charged through fair trials. It all happens in a coercive plea deal. Violent offender is just a fucking label. Yeah, and also, not only that, but violent offenders are not even focused. Like, no one even focuses on fucking rehabilitating said violent offenders anyway. Okay. I don't want to brag about early release in Canada. I work in a physical rehab unit, and we've received a patient from the prison that has mysterious left side hemiplegia, like unusable. He has 2 guards at his door in about a month of this. The government is actually like, oh, this costs too much. You can't commit crimes in the state. We can't care for him in the prison. So, like, let's do an early release. So let's, on that note, hey, if you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.